and welcome to round one of the 2025 UCI Mountain Bike Eliminator World Cup with me, Emma Martin. We're coming to you today from Dushanbe, the capital city of Tajikistan in Central Asia, and you can see we are already on course with a quick flying lap to give you an idea of what we are facing today. And the riders, it's a long start straight, up the steps, turn left, turn right, on the wave ride, down the steps, up and over the first bridge of the day. They drop back on to the long run before, well, the features just keep on coming. They take the drop down into the wall ride, round the wall ride, left onto the bridge. Now this bridge, very technical. We've had issues here today already. The drop off the other side before the small drop, the left-hand turn into the rock garden. The rock garden, the last feature on the lap. It's a 530-metre track, long finish straight, plenty of room for manoeuvring and overtaking. 2 laps our riders are going to be faced with today in the Eliminator competition. In the individual time trial earlier on, which was the qualifying round, let's just remind ourselves that the gridding for the Eliminator heats based off that individual time trial. The time trial, 1 lap of the course. The fastest woman today from Berger, 1 minute exactly out for the lap. The fastest man, that was Lind, 54 seconds, and you can see that there. So the time trial results in the men's competition. It's the men's quarterfinals that are going to be coming up first. Lind taking and setting the fastest time. Theo Hauser, the current reigning European champion, just 0.4 of a second back. Gegenheimer 0.6, Tornillian 0.8, and well, the top 8 covered by just 2 seconds in that individual time trial. The top 10, 3.5 seconds. That tells me this is going to be very close today in this men's competition. And well, it is, and I think we've got, well, I know we've got 10 corners on the course today, and it's going to be those corners that really set up this racing, because those features come thick and fast after each of them. The quarterfinals are up first. You can see the 4 heats on your screen. Linda, the reigning World Series champion from 2024, going in that first quarter-final with Niels Riker, Furkan Akam and Ilya Takova coming up first on your screen. Tornillian, Klemenchek, Nemec and Tarasov go in Heat 2. Hauser, Molnar, Brickis and Yuldashlev going in Heat 3. Gegenheimer, Bin Lukman, Bastatar and Yuka going in Heat 4. Now you can see the beautiful city of Dushanbe we are in at the moment. We are down in the heart of the Ismail Samari Memorial Complex. That is where the course is based today. Ismail Samari, well, the founder in the 10th century of the Tajik nation, and some beautiful statues and architecture you will see across this memorial park today. And the riders lining up, you can see, for the first quarterfinal. In 1, it's the rider from Kazakhstan, Kova. In 2, the Swedish rider Lind, the German rider Riker in 3, and Akam, the Turkish rider, is in 4. Now the riders will get a 15-second warning before the start of the race. And then the 4 riders in each heat. So it's the fastest 2 to progress to the semi-final. So we're looking for those first 2 to go through and qualify. 2 riders through, 2 riders out. The temperature today, a balmy 26 degrees. You can see the sunshine casting shadows on the course, and perfect conditions almost for this racing this afternoon in Dushanbe. So you can see, there we go, the 15 seconds just being given to the riders, and they are away. The first quarterfinal in the men's race is away, and Lind getting a cracking start. The rider from Sweden, you can see him there coming into P1. He's also got number 1 on his bike because he set the fastest time in that qualifier today in the individual time trial. The number boards on the bike represent the position after that individual time trial. So Edvin Lind from Sweden leading them through. Nils Riker from Germany in 2. You can see going through that wave ride and up and over the bridge very, very quickly. The pace so high today out of the start, and they're going to have to settle back and settle down slightly as they come down through the steps, round the wall ride. The continual turning, weaving nature of this course. Lind and Riker still at the top, but Akam, the Turkish rider, not out of this yet. So Akam, the Turkish XCE champion, has only ever made the small final before, but he has indeed made the small final before, and he is a great competitor. Edvin Lind shoulder checks, see who he's got with him. So does Nils Riker. They both see that Furkan Akam is the rider. The Turkish champion is on their tail. 3 riders now left in this heat as they come round onto the second lap. Up and over the wave ride, down the steps, up the bridge. 3 riders still neck and neck. The first 2 riders now just gapping Akam. Akam being gapped for the first time now on lap 2. Lind and Riker continuingly to check to see where the Turkish rider is. Up and over the wall ride, just loses a little bit of momentum there. Akam, as he comes round through and onto the drop off, he's got a little bit of distance now to close up if he wants that second qualifying place. At the moment, Edvin Lind in 1. Nils Riker in 2, and they're coming through now onto the finish straight. No one is going to contend the sprint. Lind and Riker go through. Akam will not progress. Great race there from Furkan Akam. Brilliant racing, really, really competitive, and just in the second half of that second lap, missing out on that qualification. So the rider from Kazakhstan, Ilya Takova, is the rider we are watching come through to the finish line now, completing his quarter-final. First quarter final complete. You can see Edvin Lind came off of the start with intention. His intention was to get P1 on that race because these features coming fast after the corners, really presenting the technical challenge to the riders. And if you are a rider in the front of this race, you are going to get the clear line in. You are not going to be caught out by the other competitors in that heat. And Lind and Riker, a little bit of a congratulations there as they come across the line and qualify and progress to the semi-finals. Heat number 2 lining up. We've got Tarasov from Estonia, Klemenchik from Slovenia, Tornilian from France, and Niemczek from the Czech Republic, lined up down on the start line. Not yet being given the 15 seconds to go. But you can see all 4 riders, preparation done, assuming their start positions. That start really key, as we saw from Edvin Lind. He held that lead from the gun in that first heat in the quarterfinals today. Is that going to be a strategy that we see here now? Loic Tornilian, the rider who performed the best in the individual time trial earlier on, took 4th place in that, but he doesn't come to the front of the race. It's actually the Estonian rider Tarasov who comes through. So Tarasov, 5 times national champion in XCO and XCE. He knows what he's doing on a mountain bike, and whilst he didn't put the time in the time trial earlier on today, he has gone hard out of the start here today in heat number 2 of the men's quarter-finals. The push goes down. You can see the drive through continuing here Klemenchek slots into second place here as they go up and around the wall ride. All four riders here, Tornilian, Klemenchek, Nemec and Tarasov, all in contention here in this second heat. Nobody has been dropped from the group as the riders still continue to push through, and Kirill Tarasov doing a great job out the front here, absolutely dialing it as they come down the finish straight for the first time. They're going to go out onto the second lap. Klemenchek comes up and over the top, wants to take the lead into the second lap from Tarasov. So, lap 2. Klemenchek now in P1. Tarasov still in a qualifying position at the moment in second place. But the rider's thick and fast on his heels, and this is not finished yet, this heat. But it is the second position we are looking for here, because it's the top two riders to go through to the semi-finals. The two riders at the back of this heat to go out. Oh, it is still close with three riders in contention here. They come up and over the bridge, off of the drop-off, down the steps, and they take the corner into the rock garden. Two riders, it is indeed Loic Tornilian now in that second position as they come into the finish straight. So Jakub Klemenchek is going to come through in 1. Loic Tornilian does the business on lap 2, comes past Kirill Tarasov and takes the second position to progress to the semi-final. So Klemenchek and Tornilian, the two riders through. They weren't the two riders in the top position on lap 1. That was Tarasov, not making it through to the semi-finals. But he had an absolutely blinder. You can see the rider on the left-hand side of your screen with the plate number 13. He led throughout the first lap, but that heat so close yet again, and we predicted that from the time trials earlier on. Just a little bit of challenge coming through that rock garden for Tarasov there, but it was indeed on lap 2 Klemenchek and Tornilian who came through into positions 1 and 2 in the heat, and it's those two riders who will progress to the semi-finals. So heat number 3 lining up, and we have Danis Brikis up against Theo Hauser, Eddie Molnar, and indeed Cameron Beck Yuldashev is the rider on the right-hand side of your screen from Uzbekistan. The 15 seconds to go is given to the riders, and away they go. This is heat 3 of the men's quarterfinals, and the charge is on here. You can see the power going down on the start straight here, and it is Theo Hauser who is being challenged by Eddie Molnar. Molnar slips into P1 on the corner as they exit the start straight, go up this ramp before they come round the left-hand bend and then into the main features out on the course. So Molnar in 1, Hauser in 2. Oh, the rides are strong today as they come over the bridge and down, and the first two riders now starting to pull away. Now, Hauser, as we said, the current reigning European champion. You can see him in that European jersey. Molnar, well, Molnar is at the front of this race at the moment and doing a fabulous job here. The national champion took 1 World Cup win last season. He was 3rd in that European Championship as well. Made 3 finals in 2024. The Romanian rider is a strong Eliminator rider, and you can see him checking behind to see who's with him. And it is indeed 3 riders going out onto lap 2. Danis Brikis is there as well. So it's Hauser, Molnar, Brikis. He's right up on the wheels. The 3 riders close together as Molnar leads it out from Hauser and Brikis. 2 riders to progress. One of these 3 will not progress to the semi-finals, and you can see the pace. This is such a fast course here in Dushanbe as they drop down the steps over the wall ride, take that corner onto the bridge with the drop, and now Molnar and Hauser going neck and neck off that drop, and Hauser sitting into P1 as they come into the rock garden. He wants the safety of that first spot as he comes in, because he knows the sprint's going to unleash, and the sprint unleashes behind. It's Molnar and Brickis, but Molnar, the Romanian rider, is going to go through. So Thea Hauser in 1, the European champion, progresses to the semi-finals. Eddie Molnar, the Romanian rider who led for so much of that race, will go through to the semi-finals in second place. And credit to Danis Brickis, because that was some battle. Just 0.6 of a second, and he won't be progressing today. So neck and neck coming over that bridge drop and into the final corner. That was lap 1. Played out slightly differently in lap 2 because Hauser took first spot on that same feature on lap 2 to give him the first position over the line. Molnar and Brickis, it was a sprint to the line, and Molnar took that second spot. So the final heat in the men's quarterfinals is lining up and ready to go. 4 riders here: Bin Lukman from Singapore, Yuka from Turkey, Gegenheimer from Germany, and Bastatar from Turkey as well. Now watch out for Bin Lukman. He is a strong XCE rider, second in round 3 of the World Cup in 2024. He's the Singapore national champion. In fact, 8 times the Singapore national champion across multiple disciplines of mountain biking. And it is indeed Bin Lukman and Gegenheimer, the 2 riders battling for that first spot, and Bin Lukman picks it up. You can see he's on that number 6 plate, finishing 6th in that individual time trial, giving him the gridding into this race. Gegenheimer sitting in P2, just behind him, Simon Gegenheimer, an absolute legend when it comes to mountain bike eliminator. He has been racing World Cups since 2011 and has taken 13 World Cup wins in that time. The 2 riders at the front now starting to pull away as they're coming towards the end of lap 1. And Gegenheimer just monitoring Bin Lukman's rear wheel as they come round into the rock garden. They're going to come through into the finishing straight for the first time. They have 1 more lap to go. And in fact, it's looking like the 2 riders from Turkey now trying to close down on the long finishing straight here, and the number 11 plate. The Statar is the rider coming into play now, but not quite closing the gap enough, but potentially there is the opportunity now for him to close this down and come back onto Gegenheimer's wheels. Now Gegenheimer is going to want to get P1, as we saw Hauser do last time round from Molnar. He's going to make sure he wants that qualification. But Bin Lukman, the rider from Singapore, doing an outstanding job here on the front of this race. He comes down over the drop into the wall ride. He continues to dominate this heat, and Gegenheimer may be doing a little bit of energy management here, knowing he's going to progress to the semi-finals, feeling safe in his position at the moment, as we see Gegenheimer just bunny hop onto that rock garden there, and nice technique, and showing us just how good he is on that mountain bike. He knows he's clear. Bin Lukman takes P1 to safely qualify through to the semi-final. Simon Gegenheimer, a little bit more of a reserved race there, doing enough, but not feeling the need to contend for the win. Our 2 Turkish riders putting in a phenomenal battle there, actually, in heat number 4. Samet Bastatar coming through 2 seconds back, and Mir Yuka 8 seconds back, and you can see the challenge there from Bastatar on the start, and really pushing the power down, and the hold, oh, he just really challenged lifting that front wheel and not getting the best of starts. But Bin Lukman did indeed, the rider from Singapore, get a flying start and led from the gun here. By the end of the start straight, Bin Lukman was in the lead in this race, and rider Bin Lukman, the rider coming through in P1, he's going to be one to watch in the semi-finals today. So the men's quarterfinals now complete. The next set of races up here in Dushanbe are going to be the women's semi-finals, but let's just take a look at those results. So Edvard Lind and Niels Riker going through from Heat 1, Hauser and Molnar going through from Heat 3, Klemchek and Tornilian Heat 2, Bin Luckman and Gegenheimer from Heat 4. So the riders with the qualifications by the side of them will be the ones that we see coming through in the semi-finals, which will be up shortly. But first, we have the women's semi-finals coming up. They too undertook that individual time trial earlier on, and coming out on top was Marion Fromberger, taking that fastest time of 60.39 seconds. The Ukrainian champion Shukholpulva 0.78 of a second back, Boissier 0.8 of a second back. Really, really close with those top three riders today in that individual time trial. You can see the two semi-final heats, so it'll be Fromberger, De Vries, Lite and Bolivar in semi-final 1. In the second semi-final, it will be Shukholpulva, Boissier, Kuznetsova and Beck. Now the German champion is the rider we are in with there, as the riders line up for heat number 1 in these semi-finals. So Marion Fromberger from Germany, she's third on your screen. It's Lara Lite from Brazil, Didi De Vries from the Netherlands, Marion Fromberger from Germany, and Jasmina Bolivar from Uzbekistan is the rider with the number 8 plate on the right hand side of your screen. So the riders are away for the first of the semi-finals here in the women's race today, and you can see it is Lara Lite who's had a phenomenal start on your screen, the rider with the number 5 plate. She's battling with Didi De Vries on the number 4 plate for that second wheel behind Marion Fromberger. The German rider with the number 1 plate is the rider out front at the moment. She's gone into P1 now. Fromberger did indeed take the win in the opening round last year on the UCI Mountainbike Eliminator World Cup, and I'll tell you something, she has come out of the pen today with intention as well. She obviously wants to take the win here today in Dushanbe, and Didi De Vries is now just starting to come into shot and onto the back of her wheel, but Didi De Vries sitting into second place. Lara Lite in third. We can see her coming up onto the drop. So those three riders having ridden away from Bolivar, the rider from Uzbekistan, but Fromberger, De Vries and Lite will go through into the second lap here in that order. The first two riders will progress to the major final today. The two riders in third and fourth will progress to the small finals to decide places 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th today. But Fromberger and De Vries now looking clear here. They need to get their energy management sorted here, because they need to be able to progress through to that final and battle again. The key thing though, we've just seen De Vries shoulder check, so she wants to know where Lite is. This is the opportunity now. Lara Lite has half a lap to get into the action. Marion Fromberger pushes on through the drop on the wall ride. Oh, just gets the brakes on there, getting that line on the wall ride. Not how she would like, but she picks up over the drop down into what is going to be the final transition through the rock garden. Lara Lite is now coming up onto the wheel of Didi De Vries. This is going to be interesting now. It's going to be a sprint between De Vries and Lite. Lite comes round and she's pushing hard behind. Who is going to take that? That is going to be so close. Lara Lite thinks she's got that. She has. Lara Lite takes the sprint from Didi De Vries. The Eliminator race is not over till you are over the line. Marion Fromberger and Lara Lite will progress. It's 0.06 of a second between Lite and De Vries on my timing screen at the moment. And Didi De Vries, well, she made the final 3 times last year. And, well, she had a first place, a second place, and a third place in the 2024 World Cups. She's not going to today because she was out-sprinted on the line by Lara Lite. And let's just take another look at that now. They came into the finish straight with Didi de Vries ahead of Lara Lite. Lite runs into the back wheel of de Vries. She comes round in that sprint. And by the time she gets to the line, it is a hair on that line, a breath of wind. Lara Lite goes through to the big final. Didi de Vries does not progress. She will be in that small final later. So the second semi-final in the women's race, ready and waiting to go. Now, we have Kuznetsova in your left. We have Shukalpulva, the Ukrainian champion, second in that individual time trial. She's got the number 2 plate on her bike. We've then got, Madison Boissier from France and Hannah Beck from Germany. Beck with that number 7 plate on. This is a close heat, 2nd, 3rd, 6th and 7th in that individual time trial, all out in heat number 2. This could be exceptionally close, and the push is on at the moment, and it is going to be Madison Boissier sitting into second wheel, because Shukalpulva is the rider, the Ukrainian rider is the rider who is pushing into that first place here on lap 1. So Shukalpulva is the rider in 1, Boissier in 2. And it's looking like, I can see it's Kuznetsova in 3, Hannah Beck in 4, but the 2 riders now at the front of this race riding clear. They really were strong in the individual time trial earlier on, taking 2nd and 3rd. Shukalpulva was indeed just 0.7 of a second back from Fromberger, Boissier 0.8 of a second. These 2 riders so well matched. Oh, Boissier just having a wobble there on that drop. Interesting, because these features come so thick and fast after the corner. You turn a corner, there's a feature, and those lines into those corners are the ones that are really important here. So the Ukrainian rider is leading them through at the end of lap 1. Madison Boissier from France sitting on her wheel in second place. A small gap back now to Kuznetsova, the rider in 3rd place. It's looking like these 2 are indeed going to ride away, because I don't think that gap can be brought back. Lara Lite brought the gap back in heat number 1 of the semi-finals, but that gap looks too big to me, and I think we are going to see Shukalpulva and Boissier going through here and progressing to the major finals. Kuznetsova will have the opportunity to progress to the small final, but as we saw earlier, you have got to get your bike over the line, and that is absolutely key here today. So the riders now coming through, Boissier coming off of that drop, down through the steps, taking that left-hand turn into the rock garden. Riders choosing to bunny hop onto that rock garden and just go over the large rocks on the entrance. A great technique from both of the women here today as they come through under the banner, and it is indeed as it was at the first corner of lap 1. Shukalpulva over from Ukraine taking number 1, Madison Boissier from France taking 2, and Kuznetsova, the rider who won't progress to that big final. Hannah Beck coming across the line for 4th place. The young German rider will progress to that small final alongside Anastasia Kuznetsova. So we saw the push on the start there from Madison Boissier. She had a phenomenal start. In fact, Maria Shukalpulva had a really poor start there in comparison to Boissier, but by the end of that start straight, she was up and running at full power. As you see the technique from the women onto the rock garden here. 1 and 2, Ukraine and France progressing through to the final with Fromberger from Germany and Lite from Brazil. So 4 riders progressing to that big final. 4 different nationalities in our women's race. There you go, you can see those results for yourselves. Fromberger and Lite progressing through to the main final. Shukalpulva and Boissier as well. De Vries, Believer, Kuznetsov and Beck will progress to the small final. Now, up next, we have the men's semi-final. And we can see here we have Lind, Klemenchek, Tornilyan and Riker going through in heat number 1. We have Hauser, Gegenheimer, Bin Luckman and Molnar going through to heat number 2. So lined up here, the German rider Niels Riker, Edvin Lind from Sweden, Loic Tornilyan from France, and Jakub Klemenchek from Slovenia lined up, and away they go. The whistle went quickly there for this first semi-final, and away they go. The big battle is on, and Edvin Lind wants to come out from the start again. So Lind sitting in first, Klemenchek then dropping into 2. The riders really close here as they weave their way around the first set of corners, and the battle is on right at the back here. So Tornilyan and Riker are battling out here for 3rd and 4th. They need to be as close as possible to that second wheel, and getting the momentum right through that wave is really caused some problems here in the race, and then has allowed Lind and Klemenchek to ride away. Riker just getting stalled through that wave, and you can see them coming through the wall ride as well. The momentum that they carry in, if they get the line right, they'll carry the momentum out as well. You get the line wrong and it was like putting the brakes on the bike. Now, Lind coming through with Klemenchek on his heels as they come through to the end of lap 1. They're both looking behind them to see how close this is, and they don't need to, because I can tell them this is seriously close here. The battle is on. All 4 of these riders going out onto the second lap at the moment could indeed make the final here today and be battling it out for top spot in the first round of the World Cup here in Dushanbe. Edvin Lind continues his charge on the front of this race. Klemenchek is sitting in 2, but now Niels Riker is the rider coming through and wanting that second place. He's coming through wanting to battle this out. Riker was second at the Barcelona World Cup in 2024. He wants to be in that major final, and I'll tell you something, they all want that top spot. They all want P1 here as they're coming into the rock garden. They're going to be lining up for the sprint. They've seen Lite come through on the line to the final. What can they do here? They need to hold the line, but it is indeed, I think, going to be Klemenchek and Lind who go through. Riker just did not have the power to come past Klemenchek in that sprint. Great racing as we watched Loic Tornilyan, the rider from France, coming through in 4th place. So Edvin Lind coming through to take that, the Swedish rider who won the World Cup Series in 2024, wanting to start his World Cup season in style, and has led every heat he's ridden from the gun, and he stamped his authority on the race because he's got number 1 on his board. He set the fastest time in that individual time trial, and he's dominated both of his heats so far. Can anybody upset the day for Edvin Lind? Well, this is the second semi-final, and Eddie Molnar is up against Theo Hauser, Simon Gegenheimer and Roda Bin Luckman. This is going to be a absolute battle. 2 riders through to the main final that will decide places 1st through to 4th. 2 riders through to the small final, and take a look at that. This group are so well matched. Oh, it's an absolute battle for the front here, and at the moment it's Simon Gegenheimer who's in P1, Theo Hauser, Eddie Molnar, Roda Bin Luckman, the riders here at the moment, and fast and furious out of that start straight. It's Theo Hauser who's been distanced at the moment, the European champ. Whoa, Bin Luckman's got a problem on the bridge at the moment. He's gone in and stalled on the bridge. He's had to dismount. That's taken him out now and really played with this semi-final. Anything can happen here in Eliminator racing. It's fast, it's furious, and the just keeps coming at you. Well, Simon Gegenheimer out front at the moment, clear from the carnage behind. Eddie Molnar in second, and it is indeed Theo Hauser who's benefited from that, because whilst the other two were watching to see what had happened to Ben Luckman, Hauser was able to get back into contention. Three riders now going through side by side as they go out onto lap number 2. Now, we said this was going to be a battle, and Hauser, the European champion, oh, just getting pushed out there. He went shoulder to shoulder with Molnar, and took a handlebar, I think, into the barrier. It's stopped the race for him, as we can see Gegenheimer now and Molnar, the two riders, looking behind, wondering what on earth has happened. But it has been absolutely an action-packed semi-final. Ben Luckman getting stalled on the bridge on lap 1, having to take his foot out of the pedal and put his foot down, took him out of contention. Molnar and Hauser going shoulder to shoulder on lap 2, and Hauser getting caught up in the barriers has left Gegenheimer and Molnar side by side, able just to ride in. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what our commissaires say. The commissaires, the referees of cycling. There you go, the two riders just looking at each other. We'll get confirmation there as to those two riders progressing, and indeed, take a look at that. Ben Luckman, the rider, picked himself up from the problem on lap 1 on that bridge, and he showed so much promise in the quarterfinals. Anything can happen. The rider from Singapore coming through for 3rd place. Theo Hauser coming through in 4th. Ben Luckman and Hauser will progress to the small final. Gegenheimer and Molnar will progress to the main final today. You can see here the riders just getting caught up with each other in the spirit of the competition. 4 riders out on a small course, battling it out shoulder to shoulder. The riders in the rulebook, you're not allowed to deliberately impede, but the rulebook does allow for the fact that it is contact out there, and shoulder to shoulder, as long as you're not deliberately impeding the line of another rider, is part of Eliminator racing. So confirmed, Edvard Lind and Jakub Klemenček go through from the first semi-final. Simon Gegenheimer and Eddie Molnar go through from the second. Now, what is a straightforward course when you ride an individual time trial becomes a very different beast when there are 4 of you out on that course for an eliminator. Let's take a look at the finals today. So De Vries, Kuznetsova and Beck in the women's small final, from Berger, Shukalpova and Boissier, as well as Lite in the main final. The men's small final, Hauser, Tornillian, Ben Luckman and Riker. Lind, Gegenheimer, Klemenček and Molnar will contest the men's final today. So the women's small final to decide 5th, 6th and 7th place will line up first. You can see Hannah Beck from Germany, Didi De Vries from the Netherlands, and indeed Anastasia Kuznetsova lined up and ready to go. The AIN is an independent rider, and you can see the riders coming out fast and furious from the start line, and it is indeed Didi De Vries who goes straight into that first position. Hannah Beck, the German rider, desperate to get second wheel and just missing out because Kuznetsova taking the inside line at the end of that start straight. Great effort from Beck to try and get in the mix, but at the moment it is Didi De Vries leading the charge here in the small final, dropping off the steps and up onto the bridge where we saw Ben Luckman having challenges during his semi-final. De Vries taking a look over her shoulder, seeing where the riders are, but Didi De Vries settling into that first position. Down the drop, over the wall ride, she's going to come up the bridge. And with the drop off, as she does indeed towards the end of lap 1, down the steps, round the corner, on to the rock garden. The rider in 2 is Anastasia Kuznetsova, doing a great race here. But De Vries coming through clear at the moment. All three riders in the picture as De Vries comes underneath the line. This is not over yet. So the women's small final here in Dushanbe in Tajikistan. This is round 1 of 8 World Cups this year for the mountain bike eliminator discipline. Didi De Vries currently leading the women's small final as she comes into the wave ride. The rider in 2, Anastasia Kuznetsova, is doing a great job of staying in contention, but just stalling at the top of the bridge, allowing De Vries to just get a couple more meters, but she's not given in yet. She is still battling in second place here. De Vries goes round the wall ride. She's just got the rock garden and the bridge with the drop to go. Up she goes. Down she goes over the drop. She's going to take the left-hand corner into the rock garden, which will see her on to the finish straight. De Vries just now needing to get that bike over the line, and 5th place will be hers today. Didi De Vries comes into the finish straight. She's going to take 5th place today in round 1 of the UCI MTB Eliminator World Cup. Anastasia Kuznetsova comes through for 2nd, which will give her 6th place overall. And Hannah Beck from Germany, the young rider from Germany, coming through in 3rd place, will indeed give her her best overall finish in a World Cup with 7th place today. So we watched Didi De Vries, and she comes through. She dominated that race. She went into P1 off of that start line. Kuznetsova slotted in behind her, and that is how it stayed for the 2 laps of the women's small final today. Great riding from De Vries. She had a great season last year and really came into her own. She took a 1st place, a 2nd place and a 3rd place in 3 rounds of the 2024 World Cup. She made 4 finals last year. Really, really strong racing from De Vries last year, giving her a huge amount of confidence, and she's going to start her 2025 season off with a 5th place today here in round 1. Now, before we move into the men's finals, we are just awaiting an agreement from the commissaires that the riders are progressing. And let me just give you a quick overview of all 8 rounds. So we're here for round 1 in April, Dushanbe Tajikistan. We move to round 2 on the 1st of June. We head to Leuven in Belgium. Round 3, the 12th of July, Aalen in Germany. Was the World Champs course last year. Round 4 on the 10th of August, we head to Sakarya in Turkey. Round 5, the 17th of August, we see ourselves go to Sao Paulo in Brazil. The 7th of September, we head to Athens for a new round of the World Cup in Greece. And on the 11th of October, round 7, Barcelona in Spain, which always provides huge entertainment for the crowds, and the course is really challenging. The final round, round 8, on the 19th of October, we head to Chennai in India. Now, amongst all of that, the World Championships for 2025. This year, the 22nd of June, that will be between round 2 and round 3 of the World Cup. And we are heading to Turkey to the course in Sakarya, a well-known stop on the XCE World Cup round. It is a great course and one that gives us brilliant racing. The 22nd of June is the date for your diary for that World Championships. So the men are lining up for the small final. The commissaire's decision says the results will stand. That's what our commissaires are here for, to check and double check and agree any appeals that the riders may have or their teams may have. So the results will stand from the semi-finals, and this is the men's small final. So Niels Reichert from Germany, Theo Hauser from Austria, Loic Tornelian from France, and Ryder bin Lukman from Singapore. This is going to be a close race. Now, Theo Hauser, the European champion with the number 2 board on his bike, did not expect this morning to find himself in this race, and you can see the push and the power on that start straight. He wants that P1 into that first corner, and he gets it. Bin Lukman wanted it as well. He wants to make himself, well, I imagine he wants to put himself into top spot, because he didn't want to get stalled on that bridge last time. This is where he had the problem last time. No problem now in the small final, and it is indeed Theo Hauser, the European champion from Austria, who is pushing here, but the riders are packing and packing hard as they come into the wall ride, and we've just seen the first big move of the day. So Hauser in 1, Bin Lukman getting caught there on that wall ride. The aggression and the push and the strength and the power of these riders here in this small final today. Hauser in 1. It is a massive push. Bin Lukman's found himself in 3rd place now, because it's Loic Tornelian who's come up and over the top and is sat in 2nd. So Tornelian has only ever made the small final last year. He's in the small final again in round 1 this year. He wants to win this. He wants to see his progression. But Theo Hauser is going to want to dominate this race today. So it's Hauser in 1, Tornelian in 2. Reichert is there, and so is Bin Lukman. Bin Lukman is in 3rd position at the moment. Niels Reichert in P4. But Tornelian now needs to run into the back of the wheel of Hauser if he wants to close this down and give himself a chance on the sprint. Hauser goes up, down the drop. There's just the small drop and the steps and the rock garden to go before they come into that sprint finish. Can Tornelian get onto the wheel of Hauser? Oh, Hauser, Theo Hauser picks up the pace. Tornelian looks behind, he checks he's clear. Theo Hauser takes the win in the small final. Tornelian takes 2nd. Bin Lukman comes through for 3rd. Niels Reichert from Germany will take 4th. All action here in the first round of the World Cup on the mountain bike eliminator here in Dushanbe in Tajikistan. Take a look at this. Look at that move on the wall ride. Bin Lukman did not know what was happening as Loic Tornelian came up on the outside to go high on that wall ride. What an overtaking manoeuvre. Wow. The women's final up next, and the riders just lining up now. You can see them in that start pen. They've not been given the 15-second warning yet that the start is underway, but these 4 riders waiting in that start. Now, the women's final. We have Lara Lite from Brazil, Maria Shuklopova from the Ukraine, Marion Fromberger from Germany, Madison Boissier from France. Fromberger is going to want to go out hard and go out fast, but Boissier has a phenomenal start on her as well. Fromberger has indeed gone out to try and get P1 here. The riders are slotting in behind. The Ukrainian rider doesn't want to let Fromberger in, but Fromberger slots into 1st place. Shuklopova slots into 2nd. The riders pushing on here and pushing on hard. Oh, Lite just off the back of the group here, because Boissier, the French rider, who we saw her glued to the Ukrainian rider's wheel, the French rider and the Ukrainian rider split by 0.1 of a second in that individual time trial earlier on today. Such close racing. Fromberger dominant from the gun here today in that individual time trial, and she's P1 at the moment in this final. She wants that 1st place, but she has got to hold it, and to do that she's got to hold off Maria Shuklopova and Madison Boissier, as well as Lara Lite, and we know Lite finishes fast because she got her place in this final by winning the sprint against Didi de Vries in those semis. So Fromberger comes over in 1. Shukapalova comes over into Boissier. There's now a gap back to Madison, Boissier and Lara Lite. Those two riders. Oh, Fromberger just comes off the pace a bit, and it's going to allow the Ukrainian rider to come through. So that Fromberger just opened the door there. That was some move from the Ukrainian rider. Marian Fromberger has opened the door for Maria Shukapalova to come through. The Ukrainian rider Fromberger looks in all sorts of trouble at the moment, but Shukapalova is through. We've got a rider down. I think that's Lara Lite, who's tried to come through on the line here, because we've had such tight racing. So Boissier, Fromberger, Lite having problems. Fromberger, I'm not sure what's going on here, but something is, because Shukapalova, the rider from Ukraine here, comes through. Fromberger just didn't have the legs today. Lara Lite split. Bike slides out from underneath her as she comes into the finish, but she's up. But nothing can take it away from the Ukrainian champion. Maria Shukapalova takes the win today. She wins round 1 of the Mountain Bike Eliminator World Cup here in Dushanbe in Tajikistan. That was an ever-eventful women's final. Let's take a look. Fromberger and Boissier came hard out of that pen, but then Shukapalova just comes through on lap 2. I'm not sure what happened to Fromberger. Her legs died. She pushed hard all race, but she just did not have the legs. Boissier comes round, and Lite, looking to unleash the sprint and perhaps take third, slid out from behind. But Maria Shukapalova from Ukraine takes the win today. She's surprised, but what a finale. So there we have it. Shukapalova from the Ukraine takes top spot. Marian Fromberger in second. Boissier in third. Well, the men's final is lined up and ready to go. We've got Eddie Molnar in 1, Edvin Lind in 2, Simon Gegenheimer in 3, and Jakub Klemenchek in 4. Lind is going to go hard out here because he's going to want P1. He's been at the front of every race and not been challenged yet. He's going to get challenged today because this is the final and they are wide across the road. So Lind goes through into corner 1. He's got Klemenchek for company. Gegenheimer is there on the wheel, and so is Molnar. The 4 riders in one tight line. What can Edvin Lind do here today? Can he ride away from the rest of them? He's desperately having a go on lap 1 at the moment. The chase is hard behind, but Edvin Lind has got to hold this. There's no point being at the front in lap 1 and not in lap 2, because it's what happens at the end of lap 2 that counts. Lind goes up and over the bridge, off the drop. Coming towards the end of lap 1, they take the corner into the rock garden. It is Lind with Klemenchek, Gegenheimer and Molnar. These 4 riders. Oh, Molnar just off the back at the moment, but the 4 riders sprinting hard. They've got 1 more lap to go. Lind, can he hold this position? Klemenchek and Gegenheimer are waiting. They are waiting on his wheel. They continue to come back round and through. They're coming up over the first bridge today here after the wall ride. They continue to push. Lind comes through. Klemenchek's on his wheel. Klemenchek and Lind now seem to be pushing away from Gegenheimer. Now Klemenchek was second in that European Championships. He was second in the World Championships last year as well. Lind may have won the World Cup Series, but these 2 riders battled Royale last year. 2025 is a new year and they are still battling hard for the win today here. This is going to come down to a sprint. Who has saved the sprint? Because here comes Lind. He's leading it out from the front. Klemenchek, can he come round? It's Klemenchek and Lind. Klemenchek gets it on the outside. Who was at the front on the line? Lind led the whole race, but Jakub Klemenchek came through in the sprint to take the win. What a race. The riders here in this men's final came out of that start pen, and Edwin Lind led from the first corner. He led all the way through this race. Gegenheimer and Lind and Klemenchek, the three riders clear of Molnar. But the final sprint on the line, Jakob Klemenchek took that by 0.12 of a second from Edwin Lind. So Jakob Klemenchek confirmed there in one. Edwin Lind takes second place, and Simon Gegenheimer third today. Eddie Molnar takes fourth place. The results from the men's round one of the Mountainbike Eliminator World Cup for 2025. Well, both of those finals today absolutely action-packed, and providing us with the entertainment right the way through to the line, full of action, the men's race and the women's race. And we are going to see the podium presentations for both of those shortly, and we're also going to be able to hear from our winners. Well, let's head over to the winner of the women's race.
That's all right. I'm going to ask how the race went, okay? So you just explain in your own words, okay?
No audio. Guys, fix the audio. No audio. Audio. No, here.
Well, while we wait for that interview, let's just take a look at the shots of where we are. And you can see the statue in the park. That statue, 43 metres high, that arch, really puts into perspective.
Test 1, 2, test.
The size of that park. But we are going to head back over on the ground to hear that interview with our rider from Ukraine, the Ukrainian national champion, Maria Shuklapolova.
Maria, what an amazing start to the season. Tell us how the race went.
Oh, it's so dusty, and actually I didn't expect. So I mean, it's a big surprise for me.
It's great to see you in here. This must give you an exciting feeling for the rest of the races to come. Tell us what is your ambition for this season?
I ride cross country, but now I think I ride Eliminator.
Great. I hope we will see you much more, I suppose. And the next one is actually in Leuven, so will we see you there to defend the jersey?
I think so. Maybe. No, I can't tell you.
Thank you very much. Enjoy tonight.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Flower ceremony, please.
Well, I hope we do see her in Leuven on the 1st of June, because she is going to be an exciting addition to the World Cup Series for Mountainbike Eliminator as we see the women's podium. So the rider in one, Shuklapolova from the Ukraine, German rider Marion Fromberger in second place, and Madison Boissier taking third spot in that women's competition today. Well, it might have been a surprise win for Maria Shuklapolova, but what a surprise for everybody here, and a great surprise because that was one outstanding race. Can't wait
Jakob,
to see
Dushanbe.
what she does for the rest of the season. The men's
How did the
podium
race go
up
for you?
next, and we're going to hear from our winner first.
Was really hard. Like, all the guys were really strong, especially Edwin. Like, he pushed it all the laps in the front, but at the end I have some more extra power, so I overtook him and take the win, and I'm really happy.
That was an amazing sprint, Jakob. Congrats on that. I suppose we'll see you defending the jersey. I suppose this is your main goal, to be the UCI World Cup leader and to win the overall at some point.
Yes, of course. This would be nice to win the overall title, but my biggest goal for the season are the is the World Championship when I want to take the rainbow jersey.
Absolutely. Did you had a great time here in Dushanbe?
Yeah, it was really nice. Like really nice nature with a lot of mountains, really nice city, and also really nice people.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, Jakub Klemenček had a silver year in 2024 with the second in the European Champs and second in the World Champs, wanting a golden year in 2025, and he started it off the right way. So Jakub Klemenček we see on the flowers ceremony taking top spot today, Edvin Lind taking second, and Simon Gegenheimer in third. Well, the round one in Dushanbe, Tajikistan for the UCI Mountainbike Eliminator World Cup has not disappointed. What an opening round we have had. And we are not going to have to wait too long until round two. The 1st of June in Leuven. We are back in Belgium. And it's going to be an absolutely cracking show. Well, join us for round two of the UCI Mountainbike Eliminator World Cup on June the 1st. Will we see top spot again for Klemenček? Will Shuklipolova be with us in Belgium? Tune in to find out. Until then, stay safe and enjoy your riding. Goodbye.